during the summer, maybe in June they start, and they have dance 6 nights a week, not 7. Do you know why? There's no dancing allowed in Ireland on a Saturday night. The church.
Because of Mass and Sunday morning.
Mass.
This podcast is part of the GK Media Studios Creators Network, helping people tell their stories. Become a storyteller today and learn about our podcaster network at gkmediastudios.com.
He's the man with Golden Trumpet, and he's performed the length and breadth of Ireland and also all across the world. Almost 70 years playing internationally. It's the one, it's the only, it's Johnny Carroll. Johnny Carroll, I'm delighted to have you in studio.
Well, it's my pleasure, Meghann.
I was trying to think, what year was it that we first met in Lourdes? Was that 2000 and...
Oh, it's a long time.
7 or 8?
It is. And I tell you, you haven't changed a bit since. You were beautiful then and you're beautiful now.
I remember I hung out with yourself and Anne for the whole week.
Did,
and I had such
you
a
were
great
very
week.
young that time, if I remember.
I was I think I just started college, so I think I was 18.
Yeah. You just started to have a little glass of beer that time.
I was.
Barely.
And you know what?
On the queue too, if I think you didn't want mom to know at the time.
No, I think there was one hotel that's kind of known as the more fun hotel where you were playing.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
And I think my friend and I were kind of trying to sneak down to that
You
hotel.
were, I remember that. Yeah, I remember very, very well.
Place.
And your mom was there at the time. Yeah.
And you know what? I went to Lourdes that time, and my mother signed me up. I didn't know what I was being signed up for, and I thought thought it was going to be a bit of a holiday.
Yeah.
But then I got over there, and it turned out we were volunteers looking after those who were unwell and sick. And I have to say, at the start of the week, I was like, this isn't kind of summer holiday I planned. And then by the end of the week, I think I was crying leaving the place.
It was lovely, yeah. And Anne and I, my wife Anne, came with me, and we haven't been there since, unfortunately, due to different circumstances, but we really enjoyed it. I think the great thing about we did the wheelchairs, remember?
Yeah.
We put the people in the wheelchair. That was lovely, I got a great kick out of that. I think one of the greatest memories I have for myself personally out of Meghann is that the candlelight procession around 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening. Thousands of people come up to the basilica, wherever it was, and I had the pleasure of playing my little trumpet as they come up the avenue, shall I say. It was incredible that night. That was beautiful.
Magic.
Yeah.
And I know everyone says the magic of the place, and it kind of took me a few days to maybe get that and feel it. And then when you do, it's just like, sure, a lot of people I know haven't gone to Lourdes, and I just thought you kind of have to experience it to understand it.
Yeah, and the other thing which was a bit weary, I wouldn't say weary, I'm not a great man now. I'm sort of scared of water in a way, but going into the baths, I could not believe it. I felt nothing, no cold, no nothing, just like going into a lukewarm bath, wasn't it?
Oh, it's just...
I couldn't believe it, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. I mean, and so many people have told me that they're going into the water and the water's supposed to be ice cold. I didn't feel a bit of it. Did you?
No, I remember everything about the place was just... I remember being told, go down to the grotto, actually. Someone said, go down to the grotto late at night. And if I recall, it was probably one of the nights that you were playing in the hotel, because we all hung out together, all the kind of Galway crowd. And then... it could have been 1 or 2 in the morning, and a few of us said, right, we're going down to the grotto now when it's empty. Really? And it was, I don't know, I felt something.
Oh, yeah.
I got this, like, almost like this wind, or like, it was like this spirit came at me. I just felt something, and it just floored me.
It was lovely. But I mean, when I was going that time, some of the people around the trip asked me to take the trumpet, which I did. And so I took it out there and played a few tunes. We had good fun. It was more like a party. I was a bit embarrassed by it. It was more like a bit of a getaway of a party. But look, it was good. And I haven't gotten back there since for different reasons, but I definitely, please God, I would go again.
We will. We'll have to go again. Yeah. I actually haven't got back myself, but we'll do that. Now, I have to say, of course, you are originally from Roscommon, but how long have you called Galway home? I'm
from Castlereagh in Roscommon. I'm here for the mid-70s.
Wow.
A long, long time. I'm a Galwegian now. I'm a Galwegian now, but when the rivalry comes with football, I'm Roscommon first. Once the Rosses are gone, I'm a real Galway man. You pass our house and you see the Galway flag out, the Roscommon flag. And I'm married to a West Limerick woman, so when there's hurling, it's fierce controversy, you see the Galway flag and the Limerick flag outside my house, so that's the rivalry is on. But no, I love the sport. I never played it, and I mean, I never played it professionally, but the reason being that I started very young in the band business. I was very fortunate that we became very busy. It was only 14 years of age when I started, but we were all sort of working 5 or 6 nights a week, and I never got time to do athletics or sport or anything like that. So, but I love watching it. And the matches, I go to some of the matches and things like that. But I'm very much, I love the GA. I love the sport, yeah.
Speaking of professional and playing professionally, you did mention there you were a young teenager when you first started playing the trumpet professionally, and of course still playing. How did you get into the trumpet? Why the trumpet?
Well, you see, Meghann, I was born in a little country town in Castlereagh, a fairly big town, Castlereagh, and there was nothing in the town at the time. We had barely electricity that time, you know. Yeah. There was no television, no nothing. So, make a very long story short, a brass band started in the town, and everybody in the town wanted to play an instrument of the brass band because there was only where to go. But I used to go down every Wednesday night to the band meeting, the band rehearsals with my little short pants on my bicycle, and they'd all listen to me home at 8 o'clock because no one said I was too young. But I kept up and down and up and down, and my dad says, "Did you get an instrument tonight?" I says, "No, go back down again next Wednesday." Oh my God, here's young Carroll again. But to make a long story short, I got an instrument which is a cornet. It's like a small trumpet, and that's how I started the brass band. I was only about 10 or 11 at the time, and I'm at it ever since. There you are. Wow. You never know what's in store for you, do you?
That's amazing.
I've been at it 67 or 68 years professionally without ever doing anything as a professional musician. I know a lot of people would have played music for that length of time, but they all did other things. They were whatever it may be, other professions. But I've been a professional musician, and I've travelled the world playing my music. But I'm very thankful that I got the health to do it, and I still do it. But it was a matter of having to do it because in no other profession you had to make a go of it. But 68 years I'm on the road, and I've been all over the place. I still love doing it.
It's incredible. And how did you end up then going international? Because obviously you played all over Ireland, and what was kind of the call to get you into the international sphere?
Well, it's a tough business, like acting or musicians, wherever it may be. You can be. I was slogging away with the show bands for years and years, and then I decided things were getting rough in the dance hall business, because we'd be playing to crowds that time. I was very, very young, maybe 1,000 people, 1,200 people, 4 hours a night, and you travel from Glenties to Donegal back to Clonakilty the following night, up and down the country, blah, blah, blah. I think in the mid-70s, a lot of the ballrooms started to close, and drinks started coming in, and people went to where there was drink and a bit of comfort carpet and all that. So I decided then to go out on my own with my trumpet and one or two more guys and do my own thing called Johnny Carroll, the man with the Golden Trumpet. And I kept at that. Then I got this idea of recording a trumpet solo, a trumpet album, a trumpet solo, shall I say. And nobody wanted to know. And I went around with my wares like everybody else does and knocked on doors, recording studios or recording labels in Dublin, and nobody wanted to know. Are you a singer? I'm not really, but I sing now. I'm a trumpet player now. But anyway, I did eventually get a contract with Harmac Records. That took me on. That took me into one of the Windmill studios, one of the best studios in Europe at the time. And they recorded me with an album called A Touchy Class, and it was phenomenal success. It sold a lot all over. And it started getting international, not through me, but through the record company that the contacts. Johnny Cassidy was also involved with. So they got that record out to different parts of the world, shall I say, and started getting played. And that's how I got the name, But I made a living out of it. And I've recorded 12 albums since. Wow. Well, 12 in total, yeah. And I recorded a tune called... When I was young, when I was starting in the band in Castlereagh, the brass band, shall I say, there was a very popular trumpet player in England called a fellow called Eddie Calvert. And Eddie Calvert was known as the man with the golden trumpet. He's an Englishman, beautiful trumpet player. My God, incredible. And he was my idol. Let's sit up at night with a little transistor radio to see whether I get him on radio in Luxembourg or something that night. Yeah. And he had a big hit with a tune called "Oh Mine Papa" many, many years ago. And I always did it since I was a child in the dance halls and all. Then I got the notion of re-recording myself, and I recorded it many years ago, and this went to number one of the Irish charts. And I have the distinction of the only trumpet player ever to hit number one of the Irish charts. So young fellas coming up now, they can't take the mantle from me. Before that, when the album became such a success, the record company obviously brought me back and recorded another album, things like that. So they looked after that, and I went out and made a living out of it, doing the gigs around the country in the back of the highest fan. That's all I wanted. Profile. Mm-hmm. So that's the way it happened. So it's 68 years, I can't believe I'm still doing it. And people like yourself, Meghann, I do some radio interviews and things, and people will say to me, Jeannie Mac, Johnny, when are you going to give it up? And I said, something? I give it up the first time I don't enjoy what I'm doing. That's the way it is, I don't do that much. I used to travel quite a lot and go to I used to go to trips out abroad to Spain and Portugal and these places. And I still do a little bit like that, but not as much anymore because I'm over 80 now. So I got to I tell you, I'm slowing down a bit. But I still love my work.
Yeah.
If I didn't, I wouldn't do it, Simple as that.
I love that. And you talk about the dance halls and the show bands and that era, like obviously I missed all that, but every time I hear people sharing stories of it, you can just see the kind of the happiness when they're resharing those stories. It must have been just magical.
I mean, people don't realise unless you grew up with it. I mean, the heydays of the 60s were incredible. And there wasn't much money now, I mean, you might have a 6 or 8 piece band and people think you're making a fortune. But again, it was all divvied out and you paid for the wagon and you paid for this, that and managers. You made a living out of it. But after saying that, the show band days, Meghann, were, say they're like professional football. You were Premier League, the big bands, and you're playing the massive ballrooms, the big ballrooms all over. Then you were, lower down. So a lot of people were playing maybe what we call semi-pro bands. They would have other jobs and they'd fair play and they'd travel around the country, come home 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and they'd go into a job. But a lot of bands were semi-pro and a lot of bands were top, like Dickie Rock and the Royal and all these bands at the time, Joe Dolan. But we were very fortunate with the Premier Race. We came from Roscommon. For whatever reason, we sort of made it big in that. And the reason being, my parents allowed me to stay in the business so long. I only went with them on a trial run in 1958 for the summer holidays. So they were all young lads too. But they were all pioneers. None of them drank, you see, which was great. And the fact that none of them were taking the alcohol, I just stuck with it. And then we started to become popular. And it was either a decision. Like I stuck to school and I used to maybe do a bit of homework in the back of the band, going to Cork, wherever it was. But there was no aggro on the band because none of us were drinking at the time. So I stuck with it. But there were incredible days. I mean, I remember we came from Castlereagh and I remember opening a big ballroom at Castlereagh. So they opened up what they call the Casino Ballroom. And Stevens' night, 1964, 65. And we had 3,100 people that night. And we went on stage at 9:05. We came off stage at 1:10, 4 hours, non-stop, sweating. And, and everybody had a great time. Everybody had a great time. There's no drink at the time in the hall. Everyone went out to the mineral bar and had a bun, as we call it, and a cup of tea, and that was it. They had a marvellous time. But the other thing I say about the business also, even last night, fully enough, I met some people I hadn't seen for a long, long time. I says, God, Johnny, you're at a long time. How long more will you go? Well, I said, it's like this. I said, if I wasn't here tonight, I wouldn't have met you after 35 years. I'm meeting people saying, Jeannie Mac, how are you, Johnny? I met my wife at your dance or this, that or the other. And I'd miss that camaraderie of they were great times, hard times, but I'd do it all again. They were marvellous times, but rough times on the road. No motorways, no nothing, no food. Plenty of drink for guys who wanted to drink, yeah. But they were hard times, but I do it all again.
Yeah, it sounds, even like listening to you, it just sounds incredible. Now, of course, we mentioned they're playing around. Do you have a most memorable ballroom in Galway? Is there one ballroom that'll always stick out in your mind? Might be still there or might be gone?
I suppose there's, the premier ballroom in Galway would have been Sea Point.
Yeah, and that's still there, I guess.
It's still there, yeah. But before that, there was a very popular. I say, Meghann, there must have been 7 or 8 dance halls in Galway at one point. There was commercial and different places. I came from Castlereagh at the time, I don't know, but I played in most of them. But there was a lot of dance halls, smaller dance halls. But another very popular venue would have been the Hangar out in Salthill. That's where Leisureland is around there now. Yeah, the Hangar. But Sea Point would have been the hall. Like Sea Point would run during the summer. They would start the summer season. Things were big that time. The weather was better and all that. They would start maybe in June to start, and they'd have dances 6 nights a week, not 7. Do you know why? There was no dancing allowed in Ireland on a Saturday night. The church.
Because of Mass and Sunday morning?
And fellas like us, you'd have to go to Dublin. There was dancing allowed in Dublin, all right. You could play in Dublin or the north of Ireland. So most of the time on a Saturday night, we'd be heading for the north, Belfast or Cork or Portadown or maybe up the north. But Sea Point would run 6 nights a week. And the big night then would be the Thursday night. It was the big show band night. Yeah. That's the night they'd have the big band in, say Dickie Rock or the Royal Show Band or wherever, maybe Brinton Bar. And there would be a queue, Meghann, no exaggeration. There'd be a queue from O'Connor's pub in Salthill right down to Sea Point Ballroom at 8 o'clock that night. They'd be getting off the buses there, hanging out of the buses, going into the dances.
Wow.
And everybody's had good fun. The girls are dressed up. The guys are dropping their suits and their ties. Very little money in their pocket, but great fun. And there'd be 1,000, 2,000 people up there dancing around, having the fun. There was no, at that time also, there wasn't any takeaways. Mm-hmm. Your takeaway that time, you come out of the dance hall sweating, and you run to a chip van or something, you get an old burger and chip. it could be cooked in tar for all you knew, you didn't care. But everybody enjoyed it. They went home happy, yeah. But that's it. I say Sea Point was the premier ball in Galway, because Sea Point, even to this day, it had a balcony right around the top, looking onto the floor and onto the bandstand. That balcony would be absolutely chock-a-block up there, but just people standing up there, looking down at the dance floor and looking at the band on the stage.
And would they look for someone to dance with as well?
Oh yeah, that floor would be full. I see that. I think it's what a lot of the guys did. Meghann, or the women, they were up there spotted talent. They come down then. But you see, that time, Meghann, it's not like now. The boys would stand on one side of the hall and the girls on the other. So there'd be a rush across the hall. There'd be about 500 guys on the right-hand side and 500 girls on the left-hand side. So the boys would be spotting. The minute they started playing the tune, rush across. I want to dance with you, Meghann, that type of thing, Well, it's very embarrassing, because I've seen many a poor devil heading across. And the one saying, and he come back with his tail between his legs. And the boys whistling at him. All very, very embarrassing when someone refuses to dance, which was quite normal that time. I mean, that time, if a guy didn't show a bit of respect and looked well, there was no such thing as clicking your finger and asking them out to dance. You had to be polite to them. And a woman was quite entitled to say no. And many times I've seen it happen, and maybe rightly so. But see, the poor devil, some nice fellas, coming back after, and the boys looking at them. You'd be sort of afraid to cross the floor to ask somebody to dance in case they refuse you. The best thing to do is go on a rush and nobody would see you. Yeah, they were great, but unlike today, but they were good times, yeah.
No, I love when I hear the stories and how, people are like, I mentioned this dance hall, I mentioned that dance hall, and that's the way it was. You were asked out to dance. Whereas nowadays, like, our generation don't go dancing at all.
No, there's no such thing as dancing anymore. And they did dance, they did dance, they loved the dancing. I mean, the big thing that time was the dance floor had to be slippery, you know what I mean, for the dancers. Yeah. And they used to put the crystals on it. And there's often times in the smaller ballrooms where you maybe go down the country where they wouldn't have these crystals, whatever, and they just put paraffin oil on it. And the smell of lamp oil off you go around the door on your shoes.
Oh, people be allowed to smoke. I
smell lamp oil on the floor, yeah.
Oh, people don't be allowed to smoke though, they inside the hall.
They'd be smoking away. They're smoking away. Talking about smoke, I remember. Well, when I started, it's amazing I'm still at it, because I never smoked, but I've inhaled more passive smoking than anybody I know, because I was only a young lad, 14 and 15, and you'd head off from Roscommon in the back of the van from Belfast or Glenties and Donegal, 4 hours, and 7 guys smoking beside you, and you like this crouched up. You go into a dance hall, another 1,000 people smoking for 4 hours. Back again, passive smoking killed many, many people.
Yeah. It does.
But when my point is, they smoked like chimneys in the dance halls.
And the oil in the floor.
Yeah, hell lamp oil.
I know we were saying that the dancing doesn't happen like it used to, but there has been kind of, I think, a bit of a comeback lately, because I'm even seeing there's younger people now are starting to get back into the dancing, and a lot of my friends are starting to go to, and people I see in social media, jiving has come back in a big way. People are going for classes, which I think is class.
Unreal. I see a lot of them on social media myself, and the great thing about the jiving is it's really, I suppose, a different jive. It's more like American, like the American jive years ago in America when they did their rock and roll and all that. But the young people, they're massive, and it's mostly young people that it anymore.
Yeah.
All young people, I see it on social media. And I tell you where it's very big. It's very big in the northern part of the country, from Donegal up. Very, very big jive, and right across the north of Ireland. Yeah, there's a comeback in dancing in that respect, yeah. But it's a lot of young people are doing it for exercise too, but they're very, very good.
Oh, I've heard, like, one of my friends gone to lessons for a while now, and she loves it.
But the only difference, jiving now, and I can say this, that in our time, like, you go into a dance hall that time with 1,000 people or 1,500 people, you just hadn't the space to jive. I swear to God.
Yeah,
no, you hadn't. You have enough of space now, because they're not, you're talking about 200 or 300 or 400 people maybe. But that time, they'd chocolate rock. You'd hardly get your hand in your pocket. So I mean, it was the greatest excuse that time was just called the follow ground cheek to cheek. If you go around with the arm and he'd get his cheek up again, the girls.
They're all together.
Yeah. And so everybody dances the slow dance, because they had no space to anything else.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
You mentioned, we'll say America there and American jiving, but Can you tell me a bit about your own experience in America? Because I know you've shared the stage with the likes of Roy Orbison, Johnny Cash, June Carter, Glenn Campbell. Was that in Ireland or was that over in America?
That was, I met, well, when I met, I was on the same stage as Roy Orbison when he had Pretty Woman out and all them. He was on tour that time in the Arcadia Ballroom in Bray. My God, I'll never forget. It was like Leinster final night. There were thousands there, and he just come on stage, da 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 da, and never says good night, number into number off the stage again. And the women were passing out with the heat. Just incredible.
Oh, you're so busy.
Yeah. And I met Johnny Cash and June Carter. That was in England. They were on tour with him, and we were on tour in England with the Premierius at the time, which was during Lent. And Lent was the time in Ireland, Meghann, that there was no dancing allowed. Did you know that, did you? 7 weeks of Lent. From Shrove Tuesday until Easter Sunday, no dancing allowed in Ireland. Mostly church rules again, I think.
Yeah.
So all the bands, there were 600 or 800 bands, 600-700 bands in Ireland. And a lot of these guys would be family men with families or mortgages. So everybody had to get what we call the cattle boat that time. Mm-hmm. And it was a cattle boat, because you get on in the docks there in Dublin, and there'd be 500 or 600 or 700 cattle underneath, down below, getting off in Birkenhead at 5 o'clock in the morning. And if there's any was rough going over, and they started walking up and down, and we had no berths, and you get in that wagon there to come off the big crane, and it would land it down. You'd drive up to Birmingham or London for 4 or 5 or 6 weeks. One of them times we were on tour and we were playing in the Astoria Ballroom in Manchester, and Johnny Cash was over on tour with June Carter, and he came in, and he wouldn't know Johnny Carroll, number one man in the world. I was just a trumpet player in the band, but he heard me. So that's the time he had the Ring of Fire out, and he just says, "Oh, is that a young lad that was up there? Would you do the dun da 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 dun 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 dun?" And I did the intro with him that night. And yeah, and I remember Chubby Checker was over on tour. We played a Chubby Checker. I met quite a lot of them at that time. I was out in a place called Branson in Missouri. I was out there with some friends. I told you how that came about. I did a concert in Cleveland in Ohio some years ago, and afterwards, this lady came up to me and she says, "How you said I enjoyed the concert?" Lovely lady called Sandy Gillard was her name. Mm-hmm. She says, "I'm Sandy Gillard." She says, "I really enjoyed your concert, blah, blah, blah." And she says, "I do some work with Glenn Campbell. I'm his photographer." So she bought a few CDs, and she said, "I'd love you to meet Glenn sometime." So I said, "I'd love to meet him also." So she said, for range, he works out of Branson now. And Branson is the place where all the superstars built their own massive theatres. I mean, serious now. Yeah. Like Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, Dolly Bush. You have the likes of them, and so many big stars there. Andy Williams. But I was invited out anyway to meet Glenn Campbell in Branson with Sandy, and I was out there for 2 or 3 weeks, or 1 or 2 nights. Glenn Campbell was an extraordinary musician. He was an incredible guitar player. He played with, this or not, he played session with the Beach Boys. He played Elvis Presley recordings. He played all the big stars. Long before he was a star himself, with incredible guitar, but he also played the bagpipes. Okay. And he used to do a little spot in his show every night with the amazing da 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 da. I went up and did it a couple of times. It was a great thrill for me, I met him. I was in his house at the time. It's things, things that the old mind is I'm missing out. But I met quite a lot of them, and at the time, and I have to say, I met Andy Williams. I was in his theatre and had pictures of me. It's called the Moon River Theatre. It's the biggest Crow Park. But the amazing thing about these guys, Meghann, is this: the bigger the stars were, the more natural they were.
Yeah.
They were really, really professional. They would talk. Like if you says Meghann is over, Johnny is over, and we're in the business, they said, "Well, can I meet them?" Which is fantastic. There was no big deal. Sorry, Mm-hmm. No ego about the guys who were fed, and they'd even come down afterwards to the audience, and that in Branson, Meghann, all the used to bus in all the patrons from the airport, which was miles and miles away, all the Irish Americans, whatever it was, bus them in. I've seen the likes of Andy Williams' mother, and then people going out to the bus at the time, saying goodbye to the people and signing the autographs and all that. They were real business. But yeah, I always found that the more professional people are, the nicer they are.
Oh yeah,
it's the people that it's the people that are, I find that in every line of business.
Yeah, it's unusual. I found out when I first started my media career, interviewing people, and the bigger the star.
Did you find that? Yeah. I've often noticed that also, going back to the show, but you go to halls one time, and you would be playing wherever, maybe whatever part of Ireland, and you see members of another band coming in, you know, it's, oh God, there's the drum, there's the guitar, you be sort of age. But it was always the guys, always the good musician. Funny enough, Meghann stood at the back of the hall.
Yeah.
He'd never come up and put you under pressure looking at you. I always found the guy that wasn't, you know, a bit of an ego man, looking down at you, trying, you know, I always found that. I've met so many incredible musicians in my time. My God, they're so good. But not one of them would ever put you under pressure. And no matter what you did, they compliment you on it, good or bad, which is great, you know. And you probably found that too in the business, did you, in your own business?
Yeah, I just found like sometimes I'd come in and I, especially when I was working in London, I was the intern, and I'd go in and I'd be kind of nervous and I'd say they knew I was young, so they probably knew because I was young that I was starting out. And then I think the Irish accent actually as well used to always help. But no, I always found that they were just really, really good for kind of like, some like showing me the way and kind of make me feel comfortable, even though it was probably my job to make them feel comfortable because I was asking the questions.
But you know, talking about the accent, you know, talking about the Irish accent, it's amazing. In the States for the little time it's been, the Irish accent, it just win them all. Oh, the rogue. And I don't get an accent at all. I go, gee, an Irish accent, you know, it really works in the States.
Yeah, it does.
Doesn't it? Mm. Oh, it really does. Yeah. Big time. And I was with the Roscommon brogue at the time, they're a Galway brogue now. But yeah. Do you know, and Meghann,
brilliant.
I've thankfully, through music, I've seen a lot of things that I would never have seen in any other profession. I would have chosen whatever it may be. I don't know what it would be. But I definitely wouldn't have the experience in life as I've had out of music.
Yeah.
And I keep saying to people like you, and I'm ever grateful, the amount of lovely people I've met through my life. I mean, it's amazing. Sometimes on special occasions, you'll get a card from somebody that hears your birthday and say, Johnny, do you know, you played in Montevideo Carroll, you played in Athenry Carroll in 1964. And you remember myself, my wife, and all that. They said, who was that though? And glad to see you're still in your health and all that. And it means an awful lot.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
It's incredible though. And it's, and even just listening to you here now is like, there's probably so many career highlights that you've had and you've gotten to play in so many amazing places and share the stage with so many people. And as you mentioned, meet so many people. Is there anything that jumps out though? Is it, that you'll probably always say, God, that was a real highlighter?
Well, you know, Meghann, there are two things that stands out in my mind. One would be in the fact that when we released Oh My Papa, I was at home, things weren't good at the time. Poor Stella was sick, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I remember having a bit of lunch and it went into the charts at number 7 or the next week it'll go up. And Larry Gogan used to have a chart on a Sunday from RT. There was no local radio station at that time, I think. Well, very few anyway. But it went into number 1 on the charts. I'll never forget that. And the other privilege I've had, thankfully, that I had the privilege of playing on the podium in Croke Park on 3 All-Ireland finals.
Oh, magic.
And one of the highlights of that, I remember the first year I did it with the RTM Boys Band during the break. It was televised all over the world that time. The break was is the year that Galway played Tipperary in the All-Ireland final and Galway won. So that was the icing on the cake, yeah. They were the highlights. The one thing I always remember is you're the guy that played centre field. It used to be a sort of a trick question in the pub quiz and all that. Who's the guy that plays centre field from Roscommon and never kicked the ball? Johnny Carroll. I play, centre field.
I'm going to write that one down.
Yeah, many people just going to have that as a pub quiz, I was told. Yeah, I was in Croke Park 3 times, 3 All-Ireland finals and televised, and they would be, I suppose, really no matter whatever else I've done in life and the music I've met, I'd say they were things that stand out for me, you know. That was nervous now because, you know, I think on each occasion, like I was a working man, working musician. I remember playing in a place called Castlederg the night before. I drove from Galway to Castlederg, was up in County Tyrone, drove up to Barry's Hotel and got up in the morning, took my trumpet and went into Croke Park and met the RTM Boys Band and did what I had to do. And fully enough, even after when I came off the pitch that time, I always remember the van parked in the car park or wherever in Croke Park. I got into it and drove down to Kilkenny to do a gig.
Jesus, never ending, was it?
No stars in my eyes, you know. That was it, you know. You had to make the living, yeah.
Wow.
But gig was a gig. So, you know, I suppose Croke Park would have been one of the highlights of my life, you know.
Oh, I just say that noise in the crowd. You've obviously worked away from Galway a lot and you've been away for stints. When you've been away, what is it that you've kind of missed the most or like craved the most? You know, like sometimes people, it might be certain takeaway or certain place, or is there a few that you're like, gosh, I'd love to get back there?
I always miss the chef's brown sauce. The chef's brown sauce. Even to this day, when you can ask Anne, each time we go on holidays, the few bottles of brown sauce, the chef's brown sauce, I was brought up, and I suppose my mother, God love her, you never had it, did you?
I used to have, actually, my father used to love it. So I feel like when I used to stay with him, I'd be like, is there any ketchup? And he'd just be like, brown sauce. And I'd be like, and I'd eat it because I wouldn't refuse.
Some people that tell me would long for crisp taters.
Yeah.
Crisp, but you can get crisp anywhere in the world. But, you know, it's very funny. People go into stores in America or England, say, can I have a package of taters? What's tater? Every Irish person thinks Christmas tater, and that's just a brand. But you know, it's just the brand tater brand. It's different. But a lot of people go for the crisp. I think the brown sauce is the one that Anne can tell you. It's wrong, so I still have the longer for it.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like people with tea bags.
Yeah.
Because like it doesn't taste the same. Even when I lived in London, I used to get tea bags over because I was like, even the English tea bags, I said, no, they don't taste the same. Well,
I'm just hoping, Meghann, there's somebody listening to this from whoever does the chef brown sauce, and my sponsor me, I'd send me on a creative. I'm plugging the sauce.
Yeah, that's a really interesting one. It's funny the things that we do.
Yeah. Little things,
it is literally the little things. When it comes to your favourite place in Galway, be it a beach or a park, or maybe is there anywhere you like to kind of go that's kind of like a special place to you?
I like to walk the prom.
Oh,
I love the prom, yeah.
It's so good.
We walk the prom. And there's a little pub in Salt called Lonigan's Pub. I'll go into Lonigan's for a pint afterwards and smile. Yeah. Well, you see, when we were, as I said at the beginning, when we were young, thankfully, the premier races, none of us drank, which was great, because if we were drinking another child, there'd be personality clashes. And you know, when you're stuffed together in the back of a small van from 4 hours on the stage and 4 hours back, you're 16 hours on the road, and personalities not. So from once the fella maybe get a few drinks and personality used clash. Luckily enough, we didn't, thankfully, because none of us taken a drink. But now I will take an odd pint here and there. So I like the old pint to walk the prom now and again.
Oh, it's so good. It's just
I think I've earned it.
Yeah, I know. It's like we'll do a really good walk now, but like there's a treat at the end.
Yeah. I don't swim because I never had time, but my wife Anne, she's a good swimmer and swims nearly all winter and all. She loves the water, and I got a great satisfaction watching her going into the water on a winter's day down the diving board. Oh my God, how stripping off and going in there? How to do it, I don't know. But yeah, no, I think I like the prom. I like the prom.
We're
for
blessed.
Little walks.
We're so blessed to have
you
that.
You do that too, do you?
Yeah, and when I lived in Limerick and I used to come back to Galway, it was just something nice to do.
And I've thought of that many times, Mike says, my God, I coming from Castlemaine and Roscommon, getting back to Roscommon down the Midlands, which we weren't surrounded by water. So what would I do if I'd stayed down here? I could never imagine living anywhere where I cannot see the sea.
Yeah.
Like I live out in the Barna Road now, and I get up in the morning and I just look across, and the sea is sort of across me. I'm very close to Silverstrand, 2 minutes into Salt Hill, and I just love it. And it's the tranquility.
It's, do you know what? We're so blessed to have this.
And an odd walk in Barna Woods, which is up the road from beautiful there. Yeah.
No, we are. We're very blessed in Galway.
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite place you like to eat out, and what would be your go-to dish?
My favourite place to eat out is Castlemore House. My own house. Now, we don't go that much, Anne and I have to say, I love Chinese food.
Oh yeah, love a good Chinese.
And I love the odd Indian.
Yeah.
I love spice. Yeah. But no, we don't eat out that much. We're simple enough in that matter. We do go out occasionally, but we wouldn't have any particular place that we go. Annual Jews will go such place. I just leave it to her. And I say, Jen, have any chef brown sauce, make sure.
If not, it's
I'm embarrassing her now, but yeah. But no, I wouldn't know. But I think of Chinese, and especially when I go away on holidays, I always look for a good Chinese.
Yeah.
And a good Indian now and again.
Oh yeah.
Not every night.
I'm kind of getting hungry now. Listen, we're talking. We won't start talking about food now. Especially now with the colder weather, there's something lovely about the cold.
Yeah.
Spicy
do you like spicy food?
I do. Yeah.
Do you? Yeah.
Oh, well, do you know what? I'm not great with very spicy, but I still love to have it.
I'm like you. Yeah.
Kind of the little bit of the kick.
Yeah.
Where it kind of warms me up, but not too warm because
I like that. Yeah.
And
there are very good restaurants in Galway, as you know yourself, and good Chinese. Yeah, but I'm a sucker for Chinese when I go away. I also no matter where we go, I always try and earmark a Chinese restaurant. We'll go there maybe once a week if possible. I said, that's it now, and if it's good.
Have you a particular dish? Or do you kind of...
Oh, simple enough. I'm not where I go and get so annoyed. She said, will you try something different, please? She knows my chicken curry and rice and a portion of chips.
I always have to get chips.
Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah.
And I don't care after that. And maybe a few spring rolls before that.
Oh, yeah. I'm a sucker for prawn toast.
Oh, yeah, I'm the same. I'd say to Anna, the spring rolls now are crispy. I love the crispy ones. We'll have to go together sometime, Meghann. We're on the same wavelength. Yeah.
Now, finally, Johnny Carroll, you have a full day off. The diary is clear. There's no work. There's no gig. There's nothing. Describe your ideal day in Galway from start to finish.
My ideal day in Galway would be getting up, not too early, because you see, I'm still a night owl, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so used to coming back from gigs at 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And never used to have the day job getting up at 9 o'clock. And I'm a terrible morning person, absolutely horrific. You could put me to bed at 9 o'clock in the morning and be fine, but by God, don't try to get me out of bed. But I get up maybe 10 or 11 o'clock some mornings and go for a bit of a walk. And I always find myself, whatever it is, Meghann, I always find mentally I have to be doing something.
Mm.
I'm thinking that I'm going to record something, or I'm going to go somewhere, or I'm going to, and it's the bushes need trimming or something like that. So my idea is just pottering around the house and the garden.
Love pottering.
Pottering around the house and the garden, and later on then, God willing, in the afternoon, say, come on, we'll go down Salty for a bit of a walk. And back then, and I'd say to Anne, and look, Netflix there, get a good film for the night.
Oh,
I'm a real old phobia, haven't I? Well, that's it. Simple enough, yeah. But I like pottering, and that's what I call it, pottering. It wouldn't be very professional, But
no, I don't. It's great, because I think when we lead such busy lives, it's lovely to potter.
I have a simple life.
Well, I'll have to say, Johnny Carroll, it's been an absolute pleasure to sit down and chat to you about your life.
And and me for also, because I've known you for so many years. You're always, I tell you, a most beautiful girl and fantastic personality. Anne and I have spoken with you many, many times since we met you. And I'm glad to see you're going from strength to strength. And I see you on television there with Dahi and all these people. I said, I was in a house there last week, funny enough, my neighbour of mine was over with them, having a cup of tea. His wife wasn't too well. And you come on. I said, hold on a minute. That's my friend there on television. Hold on a minute. Stop talking. That's my Meghann there on television. So it's great to see you. And I just hope this podcast thing will go from strength to strength. I've no doubt it will.
Well, sure, look, I said, it's great to have guests like you on it. So, Garmina Mágat.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
To hear from more guests that we've had on Meghann Meets, just search for Meghann Meets wherever you listen to your podcasts.